with Level 1. We provided your aeration and overseas services last year for your Sexy lawn. And as a previous
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. We got about 3 minutes and then we'll get started. While we're waiting, if you want to put in the chat what part of the country you're in. I know I'm here in Atlanta and we're getting a bunch of rain, so Hurricane Sally has officially arrived, and looks like we'll be getting that for the better part of the next couple of days at least. So if you want to put in the chat where you're from, and also if you have any specific questions, we'll go ahead and work to answer some of those today. All right, so it looks like I got some people from Missouri, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Nashville. Hello, Sarah. North Carolina. I'm going to give this just a couple more minutes so people can get on, and then we will get started. And right now you should see on the screen Learning Upgrade Basic Training Webinar. So if someone could just put in the chat box that that's what you see, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Let me go back here and share this again. I am working to share this. So, all right, some present. All right, so let me see if it's, let me change this really quick. Okay, so now do you see Learning Upgrade Basic Training Webinar? If somebody wants to just put that in the chat box, that would be great. And then we'll, okay. So I'm assuming this is not in presenter mode. It's still in presenter mode. All right, hold on.
I just came off mute, Karen, to let you know that it did switch right before you stopped sharing your screen. It switched to the presentation mode. So I think there was just a delay.
Okay, so what do you see now?
Okay, right now you're in the presenter mode.
Do you see presentation mode?
Not yet. But like I said, it switched a minute ago when you clicked on, yeah.
Okay, so let me swap this again and see if
and I think there was just a delay.
All right, so what do you see now?
Well, it's still the presenter mode, but give it a second. The last time it took it a few seconds before it switched.
Okay.
I don't know why, but you know, you were having internet earlier, so maybe that's the reason.
So yeah, could be bandwidth. I'll have to turn this camera off, I think. I'm gonna turn this off and see. Do you see just the presentation slide?
Well, I still see the note slides right now. So.
All right, hold on. Let me switch this back because I just.
There it is. Stop. Yeah, it's fine now. You can stop. Just took it a minute.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'll go back on mute. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks, Dan. Okay, it's always nice to have a little help on this end. I'm looking at a question from Pat Stansfield. She's interested in assigning specific lessons rather than having students work by the placement test. So we will get to that in the presentation. So we're at 3:02, so I'm gonna go ahead and begin. Welcome everyone today to Learning Upgrade Basic Training webinar. This is going to be a basic training. I'll try to address, if there are some higher level questions, I'll try to address those as we go. We are also recording this, and the recording will be sent to each of you. And if you would like a copy of this presentation, I can send that to you as well. So let's get started here. As part of our agenda, what I'm going to do in the first half is we're going to go over what Learning Upgrade is. I'll just introduce you to some of the courses. I'll show you how you can use the placement tests. Then we're actually going to go out to the site itself. I'll log in as a student just so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to show you an example today of some of the lessons from the brand new digital literacy series. And if we have a little bit of time, I'll show you a low level lesson and a math lesson. Then we're going to go into the LMS system and the teacher login. So we'll log in as a teacher. We're going to go through this first on the PowerPoint, and then we'll move into the content and the actual series itself. And then we'll talk about managing your students, and I'll point out some support resources, and then we'll take some Q&A after that. So what is Learning Upgrade? Learning Upgrade is an app-based learning platform that teaches adult learners English, reading, and math skills from pre-lit all the way through high level, which includes GED and pre-HSE. There are now 22 courses. Sorry, this isn't updated, but there are now 22 courses, including the digital literacy series, and over 1,000 lessons in 3 content areas, which are the math, English, as well as digital literacy standards. In addition to that, we also have standards for ISTE as well as North Star on the digital literacy side. And because these lessons are sensory targeted, meaning that you are listening to something as well as doing something as well as watching something, we like to call this binge learning because students really want to do more than one lesson at a time. The series actually operates on repetition to mastery, and so this helps to accelerate your learner's time to proficiency. In order to advance to the next level, students need to get at least 75% or better of their responses correct in order to earn a bronze medal. They need to get 90% to earn a silver and 95% to earn gold. They can retake the lesson multiple times to increase their scores from bronze to gold. And the platform will auto-advance students to the next course level once they've successfully completed the course that they're in. Learning Upgrade is also ideal for interventions. You can use it with struggling readers, those with learning issues like dyslexia, dyscalculia, learning difficulties, and other special needs. A student's course screen provides details on which courses are open and available to the students. So you can see anywhere where I have this orange ring around it and where the screen is in color, these lessons are open to me. Anywhere where the lesson is grayed out, like it's pre-algebra, high set, and digital literacy, all 3 of these are not available to me. You can also tell how many of the course levels are open to the learner. So if you see one that is partially ringed in orange, like this K, that means that those lessons are open about 1 to 15. If it's halfway, it's about 1 to 30, and anything that is almost fully ringed is going to be 1 through 59. So in the case of this Math 3, you'll see that the learner has to start on lesson 1 and progress accordingly. In addition to that, each course is chunked to aid in the delivery so that unless the instructor indicates otherwise, the learner begins on lesson 1 and progresses all the way through to lesson 60. Lesson 60 at the very end is going to be, for all intents and purposes, it's basically a post-test. It is a timed review test, and it incorporates all of the lessons within the entire course. So you're going to see things that'll start from lesson 1 and go all the way through lesson 59 in this lesson 60. Each lesson is going to begin with guided practice and moves to independent practice for the learner. Lessons can be administered in small group settings, individually in class, or as part of a homework assignment for blended learning classes. You can also use these with the teacher whiteboard as remote synchronous learning. And your students obviously can use this asynchronously anytime they want. The lessons are also scaffolded, but they can be used out of order. So depending on your students' needs and what they like to do, your learner can have all 60 courses open to them and skip around. When it comes to the Learning Upgrade lessons, you're going to see in here that we are going to give you the guided practice initially. And so this is going to be a few call outs that will help the learner understand what it is that they're going to be learning. In English Upgrade, we tackle literacy skills beginning to end. So we're going to start with letters of the alphabet, the sounds that correspond with the letters, vowel sounds, blends. There are also lessons at the lowest level that will help your learners understand names for food, colors, animals, etc. We also tackle decoding skills at this low level and some basic sentence structure, including grammar and punctuation. And you're also going to see some listening skills. We'll talk about some rhyming words. Your students will also have other directionally type of lessons like question words and following directions. So this aids them in their everyday work skills and life. In addition to that, for the reading comprehension and for the reading and the comprehension, which these are a little bit higher level, so they're really at an NRS level 5, you're going to see where we do work on some decoding skills and phonemic awareness. They're also going to get some long and short vowel sounds, as well as specific types of words like sight words, compound words, suffixes, and prefixes. And they're also going to be doing some higher reading level skills like understanding the main idea, supporting details, cause and effect, and etc. With the math series, we again start with a low level. So it's going to prepare learners who don't know what the numbers of what the numbers look like, or how to spell the numbers, or how to count. We start actually from that basic level. Learners are going to then begin with learning their numbers and progressing from there to higher level skills, which is going to include graphing inequalities, solving quadratic equations. And because the series chunks out these lessons, learners can learn these things at their own pace. They can watch and review these lessons multiple times to gain understanding and confidence. I wanted to introduce you to a brand new series that we have. So this is going to be the digital literacy series. This is already built into Learning Upgrade, but we, New Readers Press, will be following it up with a companion student workbook. The companion student workbook will be a print workbook, and it will be targeted to an NRS level 4. There will also be a companion teacher guide with it that will provide instructions and activities to extend these lessons. And you'll see where the topics that we're going to cover at Digital Literacy are going to cover everything from computer basics to communication related to computers and text messaging, privacy, security, and digital citizenship, along with many others. And the companion workbook should be available sometime beginning of 2021, same with the teacher guide. Okay, so we're going to talk about how you place a learner in the series initially, and what to do and what to use. So your learners have 2 different ways that they can enter the series. They can take the placement test, and you can set the learners up so that they take the placement test. You can set them up to take both the English reading and the math placement test, or if you only want them to start with one of those placement tests, you can just check one or the other of those. If your learner already has a CASA score, a TABE score, or you have a pretty good understanding of whether NRS level, reading level is, you can use the placement chart found out on our website to place that learner in the appropriate course. And you'll see here, depending on the learner's TABE score or their CASA score, where you can place the learner and what the correlation is for learning upgrade. Okay, so let's see. We do, at the moment, what I'm going to do is encourage everybody to auto-enroll your students rather than self-enroll. One, because it's a little bit easier to do it this way now that most learners are not coming to class. If you do have learners coming to class, feel free to self-enroll, but they will need some direction, especially if they are low-level English language learners. When you get your activation code, whether you're participating in a pilot or you have formally received a paid license, you're going to get 3 codes that come in your activation email. One is going to be a class code. This class code can be used for self-enrollment. This is a code that you can give to your students, and know that this is going to be a 7-digit code. Your school will also receive a school ID code. This is a school ID code that will be 4 digits, and that school ID code will be required for your learners to log in, whether they're logging in on a computer through a web browser or they're logging in via their phone. It will be required. And the last code you're going to need is going to be what we call the teacher access code. This will be a separate 7-digit code, and this will be a code that you will use or you will give to your teachers, and your teachers will actually use this to self-enroll themselves into the series. Okay, I'm going to skip through some of these. To tell you what, just to show you what your learners will see when they come to the phone app, or if they have a tablet, as well as just logging in from a browser. Once they first log in, they're going to go to the Learning Upgrade page, and they'll be asked to either get started, watch a demo, or log in. If you are going to self-enroll students, you want them to go to this orange Get Started bar. If you have given your learners a user ID and a password, they're going to want to go to this blue login button. Sometimes we do have students that keep wanting to over and over go through this Get Started button, even though they have a user login and a password. And that does mean that sometimes your students will have multiple accounts in there. So we just suggest that you keep an eye on that and watch that, and then encourage your learners to use the login button and not the Get Started button. Once your learners get past that page, they're going to be asked to give their user name, which they're going to put in here, their password, and their school ID, and then they're going to press this green login button. From here, this is going to be a self-report. So obviously most of our learners at this point, if you're not going back to class, are going to be out of class. But if you do have learners that are in class and you are doing some face-to-face, you want to encourage them to click on this in-class button. From here, you're going to see where they will have access to a course, and they're either going to have this course pre-selected for them by you, the teacher, or they will have a placement test. And you'll see here that anywhere where all of these numbers are in color, full color, that means that all of these lessons are open up to me. If any of these were grayed out, as in one of the previous screens, then you'll know that these courses are not open to me, and I'll have to go through them one at a time. For anyone who is going to start a learner in the English Upgrade K series, we suggest that you, at least for those learners, open up this level and start at level 3. This is going to get them into alphabet basics. We find that book covers and print concepts are a little too high level for these learners, so it's best to start them with the alphabet basics in the English Upgrade K level. Okay. All your learners, regardless as to whether you're a teacher or you are a student, you're all going to go to this www.learningupgrade.com. Most of the rest of this will pop up, so you don't need to worry about recording that. And then you're going to log in straight from there. So before we head that way, I'm going to just check the chat. Yes, okay, great. All right, so we are going to go live. I'm going to pause here on this PowerPoint and take you live into the series. So if you can't hear, put something in the chat, and I will try to make the sound a little higher. All right, let's see. Okay, so what I want to do first is take you through what a learner is going to see. And this is going to be the main login page. So when your learners come in, they're going to go to that learningupgrade.com. You'll see that the rest of this just populated in there. And they're going to click on this student app login. Once you click on this, they're going to go straight to this login page if they have a user ID and password. And they're going to put in their student ID, their password. And normally your school ID will self-populate in here. It may not happen the first time that you have your learner log in, so they'll have to put their school ID in there as well. Then they're going to come to the self-report. So they're going to go in here and self-report whether they're in and out of class.
Select your course to get started.
And then they'll see all the courses that are open to them, and they can go into any of these that are open to them at any point in time. So I'm going to take you into this digital literacy course and show you one lesson in here first.
You need to earn a bronze certificate on your current course. Keep on playing. An email is an electronic message distributed from a computer or smartphone user to one or more recipients. Each email user has an email address, which is a unique identifier for an email account. Email programs include Microsoft Outlook and Google Gmail, which allow users to send and receive messages. Let's learn how to send an email.
Mailbox or inbox is where you can see all the emails you've ever received. Folders place emails by type or from home. Junk or spam mail, promo or fraud assumed. Reply, respond to sender in an exchange. Reply or respond to all in an exchange. Forward an email to another address. Delete or move old messages to trash. To send an email, click compose. To is to whom this email goes. From is the sender of an email. Subject the topic of what it entails. CC carbon copy, others will see it. BCC like CC, but others don't know it. Add attachments like photos or files. When ready, send your email in style.
Here's an email inbox. Read the question and use the email program to select the answer.
Okay, so once the learner has gone through a little bit of guided practice, they're going to have to select a couple of follow-up, they'll have some follow-up questions and have to select. So this is kind of the independent practice.
Perfect. Tap the right answer. That's not it. The to line is where the email address of the recipient goes.
So that kind of shows you what happens when you get something correct and when you get something incorrect. So if I was a learner and I was sticking with this, I would just hit this continue button to move forward. I do want to just warn you, this digital literacy is at an NRS level 5. So it is a little higher than some of the others on here. So this is not something that you want to start a basic user on. I'm going to go out of here and we'll take a look at a low-level lesson.
Select your course to get started.
So you can kind of see what that looks like with respect to letters of the alphabet and reading.
Select the highlighted lesson or press go to get started. Here's a sentence. The cab is... Oh, what's this word? We can read this word if we know the letter sounds. The letters B, I, G say B, I, G. B, I. Big! The cab is big! Level 1 is all about the letter sounds A through I. When you reach 100 points, you're done. Let's go.
Hey! You know you want this one. So let's have some fun. Give me an A. A says A. A says A for apple. Give me a B. B says B. B says B for boat. Give me a C. C says C. C says C for camel. Give me a D. D says D. D says D for duck. Give me an E. E says E. E says E for elephant.
Okay, so I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what is in the course for a low-level ABE reader. I'm going to just take you to an algebra course. You can see what it looks like for a higher-level math student. And know that we have one for GED. We also have one for HiSET. There is a separate pre-algebra series, one for algebra, and then we have levels K through 8 in terms of math. So let's take a look at quadratic graphing.
Get ready for it. It's time for quadratic functions. A quadratic function has the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. For example, y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3 is a quadratic function. A is 1, b is -2, and c is -3. The graph of this function is a parabola. A quadratic equation replaces the y with 0. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. On a graph, this is where y equals 0, or where the parabola crosses the x-axis. For x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0, the parabola crosses at x equals 3 and x equals -1. These are the solutions or roots of the equation. If we plug in 3 or -1 for x, the equation will be true. The height of a ball thrown up in the air follows a quadratic function. The solutions where the graph crosses the x-axis tell you when it was thrown and when it landed on the ground. Let's learn some more about graphs of quadratic functions.
Okay, I won't torment those of you who are not math people by taking this any further. So we're going to exit out of here, but hopefully that gives you a good idea of what we have packed into each of the courses that are in here. So now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, and we'll go through what the teachers section of this looks like, and then we'll go out to the website and I will show you what the teacher side of this looks like in live. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about how you log in as a teacher. Then we'll kind of go through how you add, edit students and print passwords, how you're going to go about assigning or editing courses and lesson levels, how you can create a class. And for those of you who have either moved from a pilot or are going to be switching from one year to the next because of renewals, we'll talk about how you renew some of the expired courses for your learners. So again, when you go to log in, if you're logging in as a teacher and you already have a username and a password, you're going to put that information in this blue box that's listed here. However, if you do not have a teacher username and password, you're going to need to drop down to this new user button and register yourself as a new teacher. When you are registering as a new teacher, you're going to put that teacher access code that we talked about earlier, which is the 7-digit code. It'll drop into this box. You're then going to give yourself your own teacher username. I like to just tell people you just make this very simple. First name, last name is fine, and you can string those both together. Then you're going to give yourself a password. Again, I also suggest that you keep this very simple by either doing some kind of password related to your organization or something that's meaningful to you. And you're going to confirm your password, put in your first, last name, email address. And if you happen to be in a larger school setting, you might want to put your school with its location here. Once you've filled all these boxes in, you're going to click this submit button, and then you will be registered. Just be sure that you record your username and password, because that is what you're going to use to log in the next time that you do log into the series as a teacher. From here, once you log in, you're going to see across the top 5 tabs. These 5 tabs are going to get you into individual areas of the learner management system. And up above this, this will tell you how many students you have available to you, how many are currently in use, and that way you can kind of track what your overall licenses are and how many you have left. This is kind of just my own personal cheat sheet as to what is behind each of these tabs. So if you are going to go behind the student tab, this is where you're going to add students, edit students, print passwords. We also have available Spanish versions of the same. So if you need a Spanish version of instructions for any user that you need to email, there are Spanish versions available. You can also remove a license or remove a learner from class. And at the moment, there are 2 reports that are only available under reports other than this reports tab. So that first one is going to be the student monitor report. And this is going to be your 30,000-foot view of what all your learners are doing, how often they've logged in, where they are in their course lessons, and how well they're doing. So this is just kind of a quick overview and a 30,000-foot view of that. Under the courses tab, this is where you're going to go to add or edit a course for multiple students or individual students. You can also remove courses for individual students, and this is where you're going to renew expired courses if you are moving from a pilot to a paid series, or you're in a paid series and you're moving to a new year. Also under this tab, there is the student summary report. and that report can be found here in the Courses tab. The Classes tab is fairly self-explanatory. You're going to create a new class from this tab, edit or change a class name, remove a class, or add courses to a class. The Teacher tab is going to show you all the teachers that are using Learning Upgrade, as well as the support button. You can also launch the teacher whiteboard from the Teacher tab. And then you'll have the Reports tab, and this Reports tab is broken down by customized reports as well as standard reports. And I've designated these by the little cactus here and the asterisk. The Student Progress Report by date, the Student Session Report, the Student Time Report by date and device, and the Student Pacing Report. These are all great reports to use if you need to report time on task. And you can also run reports that are behind the standard button. So there is a class hours report and average reports, class average reports. So it really just depends on what it is that you need to report and what you're looking for. I'm going to go through just 3 of these reports, and then we'll go out to the website and take a closer look at these. So this first one is going to be the Student Progress Report by day, Student Time Report by date, Pacing Report, and the Student Time in and out of class. All of these can be used to report hours used by a student and time on task. You'll have a couple of these reports that will also show you what device is being used. So whether a learner is using a cell phone, a laptop, or a tablet, those will all be noted on these reports as well. This is taking a look at the Student Monitor Report. I want to show this to you first because when we go to load this in real time, it takes a little bit of time to load. So it's just always good to review some of these things before we get there. This is going to be your 30,000-foot view look of what a student is doing. And what you want to see across the board is some really nice progress. You want to see at least as many goals as possible going across the top here. That means that the learner has gotten 95% or better proficiency. What you want to look out for is anything like this where the learner seems to be struggling or just barely getting bronze levels on a majority of the courses. And then when they get to the end and they're doing this final challenge, they've got a big red square here. That means that the learner really doesn't have a grasp of this particular course and should probably go back and review it, especially if on their score is very low, like this one, 22, and they've tried it 8 times. That means that the learner is really struggling and probably this course is a little too hard for them. So you might either want to drop them down a course to English Upgrade K, or based on kind of either their TABE scores or the placement test, make sure that they've been appropriately placed in the right course. This is also where you can go to print certificates. So you'll notice here that if your learner has completed the full course, they're going to get a certificate based on what their scores are. So for instance, this person has made gold, so they're going to get a gold certificate. These will all be auto-populated with the learner's name and the name of the course, as well as what certificate level they've earned. So this is a great way for you to just help your learners celebrate success. I also want you to notice down here that you do have some sorting abilities. So if you want to sort by course level, you can sort by course level. You can also sort by inactive student. You can sort by students who had gone in there today. And if you go up here and you press level sort, your sort will look like this, where it's going to show anybody who's got a lot of progress at the very top, and those who have minimal progress are going to be dropped to the bottom. This is the student summary report. So this just gives you kind of an overall view of what this report looks like. On this report, you're going to see the content broken down by subject area based on where the learner has been within the context of the program. So you're going to have your average high score and your average initial score. These are all going to be predicated based on the number of times that the learner has played it. They'll also have an average score here and the level. This is the second half of the report. I had to break it up just for the purposes of PowerPoint. But when you take a look at this, you're also going to get a graph that will populate here. And this graph will give you what the initial score is for the learner and what their high level score is. So you'll be able to see in terms of growth based on the graph. Again, you're also going to get details down here as to which areas of the content they've gone in and the total number of minutes that they played each of those particular lessons. The student session report is one that can be accessed by the reports tab. This one is going to dive a little bit deeper into the content. So this is your student progress by date. You can change your dates here. You can put in different start and end dates. So if you are reporting this information on a monthly basis, you know that you can change this. Just be sure that you're in the right class and that you have it sorted by student. You can also do it by time of the day. So if you want to sort by time of the day, you can do it that way. And or if you want to take a look at just one student's name, you're going to put the student's last name in this search bar here. One other thing that I want to just point out to you, and then we'll go and take a look at these lessons live. Based on the top column here, you have some things that you can do. So you can sort these columns depending on what your needs are. If I wanted to switch this and have the list sorted by first name rather than last name, I can click on first and it will sort it by first name. I can also sort it by hours played. So if I want to see everyone who has played a lot of hours at the top, I'll just click on this section right here, and it will sort all of the content with the learners who have the highest number of hours played, if I want it that way, or I can sort it in the other direction. So we're going to go back out here, and we'll log in as a teacher into the teacher platform. So this is going to be the same page that we were on before, only this time I'm going to log in as a teacher. And before we do that, I want to show you what that experience looks like if you are a new teacher. So if you're a new teacher and you don't have a login, you're going to go here to new teacher. You're going to put your code in. Then you're going to put a teacher name in here. You'll put a password in. It can be the same password for every teacher if you want it to be that way. You'll put your first name in here and followed by your last name. And then you'll put in your email address. If I was a school and let's say I had a pretty big facility, I could put in something like this, and then I would hit this submit button. I'm not going to do that right now. I just wanted to show you what that looked like. So we're going to go back out here to this login, and I'm going to log in as a teacher. So when you do have a username and password, you're just going to drop your username, your password, and your school ID in here and click sign in. And once I sign in,
Hello. Today I'm going to...
you do have to stop this video that plays. So once I sign in here, you'll notice here where I have this same students. This is the total that I have. This is how many I currently have in the system, how many are available to me, and then I have the 5 tabs running across the top here. I'm going to change this to a different class really quick. All right, so if you are enrolling a brand new student and they are not in your system already, you're going to go over here to add new student. You're going to get the student uploader that will populate in here. Then you can make a selection as to how you want your students to load. So if you want them to go by first name followed by last name followed by first, you can make any selection of these choices that you want. I just say keep it simple. So you're going to go in here and you would put in a last name followed by a first name. Let's see, I'm sure I have a John in here. You'll put your names in here. You can add as many as you want. On grade level, we do offer adult down here at the bottom, so you can add adult in here. And then for courses, you're just going to use your drop down arrow. And if you want your students to take the math placement test and the English placement test, you can just check those here. Or if you know exactly where you want your learner to start, if you want them to start at math level 3 and English level 1, you can put those in there too. Just know that whatever you list up here for the courses will apply to any student's name that you put over here. Your student code will automatically drop in, as will your username and password, so don't worry about those. And then you're going to drop down here to enroll, and it'll tell you that it's enrolled each of these 3 students, and then you'll just hit the word done. Now if I were to come over here and I were to put the last name Smith in here, I'll see that Felicia, Herman, and Jackson have all been loaded in here. From here, I can make some additions and edits to them. So if I wanted to edit their courses and add a course, I could go here to add a course, select the course from here, add it, and then hit enroll in course. Additionally, this tells you where, how many of the lessons you have open to them. So if I were to go back to Felicia Smith, this tells me that she is going to be starting on English placement 1, and even if I were to start her in Math 3 and English Upgrade 4, she's still going to only be at level 1. Also under this tab, if I wanted to remove a license from a learner, I can just click on this remove tab. Same with the class tab if I wanted to remove it. And it's pretty easy to do. You'll get a prompt or two. We'll just go through this really quick, but it'll tell you that you're going to remove this student, and now that student is gone from the courses. The other thing that you can do is print passwords. So again, if you want to print a list of the passwords that you've entered for all of your classes, you can go here and just hit print passwords. Those passwords will print. If I want to give instructions for how to download the series on a smartphone, I can take this information and copy and paste it and email it to a learner. Similarly, if I want to add a home edition, I can go here to this home edition, click on Spanish, and these same instructions will appear here, and I can again copy and paste this and send it to a learner in Spanish, or I can maybe send it to the learner, and they can use it maybe with their children who understand how to download an app from a cell phone. You can also send all of this to the printer if you need to do that. If I'm maybe in class and I have a learner who comes up to me and doesn't remember what their password is, I can go here to this show passwords button, and it will show me all of the passwords for all of the learners that I have loaded. And then if I want to run the student monitor report, I can click on student monitor, and it's going to tell me it's loading this report. And you'll see down here it's got a loading button, so you'll know approximately where it is in the process of being loaded. And this does take a few minutes to load, especially if you have a lot of learners in a particular class. But once this is loaded, I find the best thing to do is to go up here to level sort so that you get that kind of nice even look at where your learners are. And what you want to look for, any of these red squares, this will tell you how the learner is progressing and whether or not they have gotten stuck somewhere. And it's just a good way to see your learners' progress as they're going through the courses. These should all be red flags, and you may find that as you click and hover over them that your learners maybe attempted this same lesson multiple times. So it's just a good way to be able to check it. I would also check some of these that also have a bronze level. You may find that maybe in some instances, like this one, the learner just basically got over a bronze level. So if you find that they seem to be struggling with this particular content, it might be a red flag for you just to maybe set them back a course level or two. And as I mentioned, if you need to print your certificates, they can print them here. Your learners can also print these for themselves, so it doesn't strictly have to be a teacher function. We'll go back here and under courses. Under the courses tab, you can change levels for a learner. So if you have a learner, let me go here and we'll put in somebody we just added. So if I have Felicia Smith and I see that she is only in level 1, I can go over here and change this course level for her. So I'm just going to hit this edit button. I can type in whatever number I want to. So let's say maybe I want it to be level 20. I'll put in level 20 and then hit update course. And now she'll have lessons 1 through 20 open and available to her. So let's see. Now you see that she's got 20 open and available to her. For those of you that maybe are moving from a pilot to a paid account, you want to go to the Show Expired button under the Courses tab. When you click on the Show Expired, if you get a learner who says, oh, I can't get into that course, I don't know what happened, you'll see here where they may have courses that have expired, either because you went from a paid pilot account to a paid account. So you're just going to go over here and click on the Renew button. And you're going to click Renew to Full Course. You will have to do this individually. So you'll have to see where these expired courses are and just renew them. Normally, it's a pretty quick process. So, and then, the more you do it, the easier it gets. This will renew those learners, though, to the full course. Let's say that you did want to edit courses for a number of users. You can click on this Edit Courses button. And once that populates with your courses, you can then check the boxes that you want. So I can check maybe any of these that are less than 60. I can go here and set the level to 60, and then you're just going to click on this Set Marked Levels. And once I've done that, then all of these levels that I've check marked for these students will move to 60. Okay, and it'll tell you that it's reset those levels. Additionally, we had talked about the student session detail report. So for the student session detail report, that's a report that you run from the Courses tab. And you're going to do that just by clicking on this report tab from the courses screen. Once I click on report, I'm going to get the student summary, kind of like what we talked about, where you'll have some detailed information at the top. If you hover over these points, you'll be able to see what the initial score is and what course they were in, as well as what their high score was within the same course. And then I can move down here and see all of the different lessons that they've been in, what their high scores are, what their initial scores are, and how many times they've played. So a couple of things you want to look for are if you continue to see that their course high and initial still remain low, you're going to want to see again how many times they've played. So if they've played a number of times and their initial and their high scores are still low, that's also cause for alarm, and just you want to be able to just catch that with your students. Additionally, if you see that a student is maybe taking a lot of time to play a game, so maybe they're taking 45 minutes or better, and you know that it really shouldn't take that long, that may also be a conversation you want to have with the learner. From here, we're going to go to the classes. This is pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to put in a new class. And once you create it, then you can add students to the evening class. If you need to edit the class, you can go here and edit the class name. And if you need to add courses to this class, you can add your courses to the class. Okay, and then under the Teachers tab, you'll have if you have set up a teacher course or a teacher whiteboard, you can launch the teacher whiteboard from here just by clicking on the Start Teacher Course. If you get stuck anywhere within the LMS platform, you can go under the Teacher tab and go under the Support button, and you will have a myriad of topics that you can look these things up. If you forgot how to add students to the class, you can view how to add a student to a class or how to add a course to a student account, and you'll be directed with specific instructions and screen capture shots on how to do each of those individual items. Also, if you get stuck, you can click under the Help button, and the same thing will apply. You'll be taken straight to that content area. Under Reports, you'll see where you have the Student Progress Report by date. Let me just change this course. This is where you can make some edits if you want to. So if I want it to sort by the first name rather than the last name, I can highlight this first, and it will sort by name. And or if I want to sort by hours played, and let's say I want the high level hours first, followed by the lower level hours, it will sort by hours played. And then in addition to that, you're going to get a lot of other content listed in here. So you'll have the grade level, the course they last played, the date they last played it, what their average percent was, how many certificates they earned, etc., going across the top here. For the report by student time, report by date, this report would tell you what the student's start and end time was. You can put a date range in here if you'd like. You can also put a start time in here if you'd like. And it will tell you the number of minutes that the learner was in on that specific day, what their score was, what course they were in, the lesson they were in when they were in it, and the type of device that they use. Anything that you see WIN means they were on a Windows-based computer. iOS is going to be an iPhone. If you saw AND here, it would be Android. LNX would be a Chrome book. And if you see MAC, they were on a Mac-based either tablet or computer. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to go back here and we'll go back to reports. We have a student pacing report. This one provides a lot more information in here. And it's also one that if your student wants to stay on task, on goal, they can put their completion date for when they want to complete whatever it is that they're working on here. And it will tell you, it will tell them how many hours they have to play on a regular basis in order to meet the minimum level, which is going to be the bronze level here. So they'll need to be in that level for at least 9 minutes a day in order to complete it. The student time class in and out report. This is going to be a report that is the one that is self-administered. So when your student checks whether they're in class or they're out of class, that's where these hours come from. This means that they've spent 0.8 hours out of class, 0 in class. So if you were having students log in class, these might look a little bit different. But that's what that report is detailing for you. You have some other reports here. So if you want a class summary report or to get data from any of these others, some of these are just kind of interesting to look at. And it, again, depends on what it is that you want to see. But if you wanted a teacher summary report, this will be a teacher summary report by teacher. It'll tell you how many students they have at each of these different levels and whether or not they're started and what the progress is. So this can be like a leaderboard for your teachers if you want to use it that way.
Hi, Karen. I'm going to interject just to ask a question because someone just asked. Is there a report that gives total time on task for a date rather than just by lesson?
Yeah, I believe that most people use this student time report by date. So you can just do a specific date. So if you wanted to make it, you know, just today, you could put in today's date, or if you wanted to make it for a month, this will give you the total time on task. So this is the subtotal is the total number of minutes that learner was in there for this date range. But you can make that date range anything you want. Does that answer the question?
I believe it does. Thank you.
Okay, great. Before we log out of here, I'm going to see if there are any additional questions that anyone has. We can go back into the student platform if we need to.
I've been watching the chat. I've been watching the Q&A. I haven't seen any additional questions. You're certainly welcome to go ahead and input some now. I also provided everyone the link to locate their sales representative should they need that. And if they have additional questions, they could reach out to their sales reps too. Yep,
that's true. All right, before we leave, I'm going to take you out to our website. If you need some additional information on Learning Upgrade, we have a lot of support tools out here for you too. So you're just going to go under our Digital Solutions tab. When you click on Digital Solutions, you're going to scroll down and find the Learning Upgrade tab. And once you're done there, you'll see where we have videos. This is where the placement chart is. So if you needed to use the placement chart or print it, it's available here. You can also get the correlations. So if you need correlations, correlations are listed for CASAS, CCRS, math, reading, GED. We also have it for all of the digital literacy, and we do have some crosswalks to some of our other materials, including Journey to Success, Lawbach Way to Reading, Breakthrough to Math, Math Sense, Score Boost for the GED and the high set. So if you're using any of these materials in combination or want to use them in combination with Learning Upgrade, you can do that. In addition, we have lesson lists under this lessons. So if you need a short description of what is listed under each of these, it's listed at the top by course name, and then going down, you'll see the lesson number and just a brief synopsis of what is listed in that lesson and course. And then for the digital literacy series, that is going to be located under digital literacy. And for that particular course, you're going to see here where we have a lesson list and correlations. So if you need correlations related to it, you're going to see the digital literacy correlations alignment to ISTE as well as the North Star. And if you need a basic lesson list, you can go to the lesson list and you'll have a basic list of the lessons. As always, if you need to reach out to your sales rep, please do so. I'll provide this. As our last slide, this is my information. So if you happen to be in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, or Tennessee, feel free to contact me. Otherwise, this is the link to your sales rep, and we truly appreciate everyone's time today. If you have a deeper question, feel free to post them now. And let's see, I think we have one in here. You cannot assign a specific lesson. If you're going to assign a lesson, you have to do it by the number. So the lesson is, if you're going to assign maybe lesson 15, you'll have to open it up 1 through 15, and the learner can go anywhere in that. You can't specifically break out one lesson. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email myself or your sales rep. And I want to thank everyone for your time. We will be providing a follow-up to this with respect to a recording. So if you want to pass that on to any of your colleagues, feel free to do so. And thank you again for your time and attention, and have a great evening.